Welcome to another episode of Start That Business. I'm so excited you clicked on today's episode. You are here because you are a Jesus-led career mom. You're ready to fulfill your calling and turn your expertise into your first online coaching or consulting business. If that sounds like you, you're in the right place. My name is Chichi. I am a Christian business coach and I help Jesus-led career moms turn their expertise into their first online coaching or consulting business in just 12 weeks. In today's episode, we're talking about 3 reasons you are still second-guessing your calling even when you know what God has said. God has given you that business idea. You have this fire in your bone, feeling the Holy Spirit keeps nudging you to start that business. You've even started freelancing your business idea with your family and your friends, but deep down, you're still wondering, do I really have what it takes? Well, at the end of this episode, you will know how to stop second-guessing your calling and how to move forward with confidence. If you're ready, listen along and take mental notes. You can come back and listen again. Let's get started. One of my most listened episodes to date is episode 1. In that episode, I shared my story about how I went from a failed corporate career to starting my first service-based business. And as I shared that story, I remember when I was actually going through that season of my life. I knew that there was this fire in my belly, feeling that I was called to start a business, but I kept fighting that feeling because I wanted the certainty of getting a paycheck, getting benefits, and all the things that come with working in a corporate job. And also, I was also second-guessing my calling. Prior to starting the business, I had prayed about it. God had told me so many things. I had written so many things in my prayer journal, but I found that I was still second-guessing my calling. And when you start second-guessing something, there are one of 2 things happening. Is either 1, you do not believe that what you're being told is possible, or 2, what you're being told has become so familiar to you that you feel like, okay, I don't think this makes sense. So when you are second guessing something, it means that you're either looking down on that thing or you do not believe, or a combination of both. And that leads me to the 3 reasons why you are still second guessing your calling, even when you know what God has said, even when you have written so many things in your prayer journal that God has told you about this business He wants you to start. Now, the first reason why you are still second guessing your calling is because you despise or you do not believe in your professional skill. Yes. What do I mean by that? You know how to do your professional work. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are a HR manager in, say, a Fortune 500 company, and God is calling you to go start a career coaching business. God is saying, I need you to come out of this corporate world and help people get their careers together, do more. I want you to do more for direct impact by starting a career coaching business. Now, you're already a HR professional. You already know how to help people create a resume, how to prep them to interview for a job, how to help them improve their professional skills. So these are things that you already know how to do, but you are second guessing yourself because these things are easy for you to do. You do them daily in your job. You do them day to day in your job. So they have become routine to you. So when God is saying, I need you to start a career coaching business, helping a specific group of people advance in their careers, to you, you're like, okay, that is so easy. Like, so many people are doing it. So many people are already doing it. So what is special in it? You are despising your professional skill because you think it is common to you. It's common to you, but there are people who will pay you to help guide them through this process. And most times when you despise something, at the core of it, it means that you do not believe in your professional skill. You do not believe that the professional skill you have acquired over the years is capable of producing massive impact in people's life through coaching. So that is the number one reason why you're still second guessing your calling. You're saying, okay, what is the big deal? Like anyone can create a resume. We have ChatGPT now, but the truth of the matter is there's a personal touch and perspective you bring from your years of being a HR manager to someone who is seeking a job, trying to advance their career, that is peculiar to you and the experiences you've been through. So when God is calling you to say, hey, I need you to start this career coaching business, you are struggling because you are looking down on your professional skill and you do not believe that the skill you have acquired professionally, your education, your certifications, everything you have acquired is powerful enough to impact someone who might need your help. The second reason you're still second guessing your calling, even when you know what God has said, is because you despise or you do not believe in the experiences you have gained through knowledge. Now, again, I will use the same example I used with the HR professional. So you are a HR manager in a Fortune 500 company. You have been working there for over 10 years now. You have gained so much experience. You have learned not only how to interview candidates, how to sift through resumes. You have learned so much how to do payroll, how to manage a talent in a business. At that level, at a Fortune 500 company level, you have gained so much experience by just working for that company for 10 years. But you are looking down on that experience, and maybe you don't even believe that the knowledge you have gained through 10 years of working as a HR manager is enough to impact someone. You are not only able to impact as a career coach, you can also impact as a HR consultant to small businesses. Do you know how many small businesses are struggling to get their people operations in order, hiring the right people, training the right people, compensating the right way, putting HR policies and systems in place to be able to help their small businesses grow? Do you know how many small businesses are in need of that service? Now, when you despise the knowledge or you do not believe in the knowledge you have gained over years, that is what makes you second guess your calling. You keep telling yourself, oh, I don't have what it takes. Oh, I've never coached before. But guess what? You have led a HR team in the current company you're working on. You're probably managing 2, 4, 5 people under you. That means you're not only helping them advance in their career, you're coaching them every day. Every time they come to you with a problem, you help them navigate a solution. That is coaching. You're already doing it. But because you're looking down on it, because it's so familiar to you, because you do it on a daily basis, it seems so ordinary. That is why you are still second guessing your calling. The third reason you are still second guessing your calling is because you despise or you do not believe in the journey that God has taken you through. So let me give you an example. Maybe you are a career mom and you have experienced 5 miscarriages before you finally had the 3 kids you had. That is a journey God has took you from point A, having 5 miscarriages, to point B, now having 3 children. God took you through that experiences. You've learned how to grieve, how to mourn, how to deal with loss, how to deal with the pain and all the things that come with surviving 5 miscarriages and now having 3 kids. But you look at that journey God has taken you through and you're despising it. You're looking down on it. You're like, yeah, I don't think anyone will want to learn from this experience. You are looking down on that experience. But God has taken you through that journey. You are a living testimony that someone can go through 5 miscarriages and still have 3 live births. That is a journey God has taken you through. You can actually coach women who have had miscarriages through the same journey God has taken you through. But as long as you continue to look down on your journey, as long as you continue to look down on that which God has brought you through, you will never feel confident enough to launch that coaching business to help someone else. And I want you to know that you are not alone. Gideon also was second guessing his calling even after God told him, Gideon, you're a mighty warrior. God told him, okay, you are going to defeat the Midianites. And he started by going to destroy the altar of Baal in his father's household. But when it was time to go defeat the Midianites, Gideon had about 22,000 fighting men, and God reduced them to 300. Gideon started second guessing himself. I want to read Judges 7 so that you can hear the story by yourself to see how God helped Gideon overcome second guessing his calling so that we can learn from it and use that same principle to overcome this feeling of constantly second guessing our calling. I'm reading Judges 7 from verse 7. It says, the Lord told Gideon, with these 300 men, I will rescue you and give you victory over the Midianites. Send all the others home. So Gideon collected the provisions and ram's horns of the other warriors and sent them home, but he kept the 300 men with him. The Midianite camp was in the valley just below Gideon. That night the Lord said, get up, go down into the Midianite camp, for I have given you victory over them. Now, I want you to listen to verse 10, because this is where we know that Gideon was second guessing things. But if you are afraid to attack, whenever you are second guessing your calling, there's always fear, there's always anxiety. You're not able to move as fast as God is telling you to move because fear is involved. So it says, but you are afraid to attack. But if you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Purah. Listen to what the Midianites are saying, and you will be greatly encouraged. Then you will be eager to attack. Did you hear that? So God told him, he said, Gideon, if you're still afraid, I know you know what I've told you. I've told you I'm going to give you victory, just as God has told you so much about your business. But if you're afraid, if you are still second guessing your calling like Gideon was doing, God says, Gideon, go down to the Midianite camp and you will be greatly encouraged and eager to attack. Okay, let's continue reading and let's see what Gideon saw or heard in the Midianite camp that encouraged him and helped him stop second guessing and attack. So Gideon took Purah and went down to the edge of the enemy camp. The armies of Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east had settled in the valley like a swarm of locusts. Their camels were like grains of sand on the seashore, too many to count. Gideon crept up just as a man was telling his companion about a dream. The man said, I had this dream, and in my dream, a loaf of barley bread came tumbling down into the Midianite camp. It hit a tent turned it over and knocked it flat. His companion answered, "Your dream can only mean one thing. God has given Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite, victory over Midian and all its allies." When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed in worship before the Lord. Then he returned to the Israelite camp and shouted, "Get up, for the Lord has given you victory over the Midianite hordes." He divided the 300 men into 3 groups and gave each man a ram's horn and a clay jar with a torch in it. OMG. So can you see what God told Gideon? God said, okay, Gideon, you're second guessing your calling, even after what I've said to you about giving you victory to the Midianites. He tells him, go down to the enemy's camp and you will be encouraged by what you see and it will make you eager to attack. So the principle here to help you overcome second guessing your calling is to gather evidence. That is what God told Gideon. Go to the enemy's camp, gather evidence that will encourage you and help you move with confidence to start or to do what I'm calling you to do. So what evidence did Gideon gather? He walked into the camp and he overheard someone telling his companion about a dream he had about Gideon defeating them. And Gideon heard it and he heard the interpretation. So for you, what evidence are you going to gather? Now, a couple of years ago, I took a course called Course from Scratch by Danielle Leslie. It's a course where she teaches you how to create your own course. And in that course, there was something she made us do, which is what I'm going to share with you. That is how you're going to gather evidence that will help you overcome your second guessing. She told us to create what she called a brag bank. So you can call yours my evidence bank. So this is your evidence bank. And what did she tell us to do? You know, I said that the 3 reasons why you're second guessing is because you're looking down on your professional skill, you're looking down on the experience you've gathered through your knowledge, you're looking down on your journey. So I want you, this is going to be your action item. This is going to be your action step. This is what you're going to do after listening to this episode. I need you to open a Google document. Title the document, My Evidence Bank. And I want you to list every skill you have in relation or in regards to the business God is calling you to start, or every skill you have right now. Don't even do it based on the business you've been called to start. So if you are a HR manager, like I gave in the example, write out every skill you have, every education you have completed. If you have a college degree, write it down. Every certification you have taken as a HR manager, write it down. Every application you know how to use regarding your professional skill right now, write everything down. List everything down. When you're done listing your skill, I need you to list every experience, major experiences that you can remember in your current field that you are working in right now. Write down any major experience. It might be how you helped the company increase their revenue from 500K to $1 million. Specific things you did, every experience that you can remember in your current profession that you're working on, write it down. Also, as you're writing your experience, write down any result you have gotten for someone else. So you're working for a Fortune 500 company. You have implemented solution that has brought results to the company. Write it down. Write it down. Any results that you have created for yourself while working your professional job, I want you to write it down. Write everything down. The third thing you're going to add to your evidence bank is your journey. God has taken you through different seasons in your life. Maybe it was a season where you were trying to give birth. Maybe it was a season where you suffered financial hardship. Maybe it was a season where you went through one life difficulty or the other and you overcame. I need you to write these things down. When you are done writing it down, go back to the top and begin to read your skills, your experiences, the results you've gotten, people, the journey. By the time you are done reading, like Gideon, you will be encouraged to know that you are already equipped with all you need to start this new business that God is calling you to start, because you already have all these things in place and you're ready to go and start this business. What makes you an expert is your experience, your skills, your experience, your journey. These are the things that make you an expert. So just because you are new to starting a coaching business doesn't mean that you are new at your expertise. No, you have been an expert for as long as you have been working your professional career. You are just taking what you've already done and you're transferring it into this new coaching or consulting business you're starting. So you are not a newbie. No, you are an expert already. You have been working that job for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. You are already an expert. And God is saying, okay, I need you to take this expertise and use it to serve people in a different arena, which is your online coaching business or your consulting business. So you see how we're taking the same principle of what God told Gideon and using it to create an evidence bank that we can use to encourage ourselves so that we can stop second guessing our calling and we can move forward with confidence. All right, let's recap real quick. 3 reasons you are still second guessing your calling even when you know what God has said. The first reason is you despise or you do not believe in your professional skill. The second is you despise or you do not believe in the experience you have gained through knowledge. The third is you despise or you do not believe in the journey that God has helped you come through, or the things you have overcome. Now, your action item, your assignment, your homework is to go and create your evidence bank. When you're done creating it, take time and read through it so that you can be encouraged, like Gideon, to stop second guessing and start your business by turning your expertise into an online coaching or consulting business. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you learned something new and you were encouraged to take action. If so, will you stop right now and share this episode with someone so they can get the help you just got? I would also love it if you can leave a review for this podcast on Apple Podcast or the podcast app you're using to listen. This is the number one way I know you're getting value from the content on this podcast. Until next time, always remember you have all you need to start that business. So keep listening for more episodes. I'll meet you here next week.